Hello, welcome to Flooring Models Kit Review Time. Today we've got Trumpeter's new tool, MIG-29 Fulcrum. This is the 9.13 version. All gets a little bit confusing how they do these days. Beautiful box art of a truly beautiful aircraft. One of my favourites, I must admit. And these kits, new ones that they're bringing out in 1/72 scale, really do look very, very nice. So we've got a little thing about it. So technically this is the MIG-29C. Nice little weapons fit with it. So we've got some R73s, some R27s, some R60s and R27Ts. Okay, and a quick look round on the box. As you can see, so your kit number 0675, sorry, 01675. Okay, and a little bit down there, so we've got a couple of little markings options as well. So these kits have been coming out now, steady stream of them in 1/72 of the Russian stuff, like, you know, obviously the MiGs, and we've got the Sukhoi family coming out as well. It's not going to stay there on its own, is it? Do we have a heavyweight bottom to hold it? Yeah. So down in the box, as you can see, quite a little jumble of parts, and as I said, with these type of kits now, really seem to got on the board. The detailing and everything else like that is on par with anything you're going to find on a 1/48 aircraft. Now, the kit instructions, which are bigger than the box as we can clearly see. Okay, so down in here we've got a little thing about their tools. We've got the actual one down here, which is a little bit bent, as you can see. So, usual thing as we'd expect. We'll look at those a little bit later. So we do this two ways. Okay, so as you can see down there, we've actually got the tree call-outs for all your sprues down there. Okay, and then straight into the kit itself. So usual thing, as you can imagine, you've got the cockpit. Looks like we've got a one-piece seat, basically, apart from the neck restraints going put in there. Opening up the holes, as you can imagine, and dropping the cockpit down in there. Nose wheel, and then a lovely touch on this, we've actually got a dolly. So this is the towing dolly for the actual aircraft itself. Again, haven't seen that in a kit, even in larger scale, so it's nice to see it in 1/72 like that. Then we're over to the other side where we've actually got two halves going together. Beautiful way of doing it, because if you're going to do anything with wing joins, they are a complete nightmare on this type of aircraft because you need to blend them in, but luckily Trumpeter have done it in that beautiful one-piece upper and lower part just like that. So just a little bit of detail to go into the actual wheel wells for the main gear, and then as you can see down here we've got a situation of these usual type of intakes going put in, but it looks like they are one-piece intakes as well, so it'd be interesting to see how those look. Okay, so we've got the actual first stage compressor fan in there, and you can have it with the doors down, because obviously don't forget the MiG traditionally, as it's running around at low speeds, has the doors closed. As soon as it shuts down, the doors open, so don't always have them closed. Okay, then onto the other side, as we can see down in here, we've got a situation of the gear doors going on, the nose going on, pitot tube. Speed brake looks like we can have an option for open or closed, which would be a nice touch. Then we've got those beautiful big engines that the MiG-29 has hanging out the back, so those are going to go in. A few little lumps, bumps, aerials, and activators. Then onto the other side, gear going on, as you can imagine. Tailplanes looks a little bit odd how they're going to fit. We'll have to have a look at those when we have a look at the parts. And then we've got gear, and then usual thing of putting in the canopy parts. And then obviously we've got the extended parts off of the tailplanes, which obviously are the chaff and flare dispenser buckets go on there. There's that dolly we were talking about being fitted on the bottom. Nice to see the instructions have the clear parts going on last for a change instead of putting them in right at the beginning. Then you've got your weapons fit of actually putting all those together. Pretty straightforward. So down on here we've actually got a situation for that centerline tank going in there. We've got the wingline tanks, then we've got the missiles, so you've got the radar and the infrared, the passive homing missiles of the T and R for the 27s. You've got the R73s, the little ones, okay, and then we've got the little the R60s going on the bottom. Okay, so nice little touch just down on there as well, and it looks like you can have the R60 without the fin, so that's the ACMI version of that particular missile as well. So very nice touch. Then we've got a little bit of a call out for exactly where they're going to go on the aircraft. Pretty explanatory. We've got a nice colour sheet as we get with air kits with the actual details for doing the different types of missiles on there. So you've got the R60, 73s and 27s, that centerline tank and the wing tanks, and the pylons showing them in the different colour callouts, and obviously there's decals for all of these as well. Then we've got the actual one where, so for the markings wise, we've actually got, and I'm not going to try and pronounce it, but they're up here as you can see. So we just got the Russian Air Force one, MiG-29C. So we've got Blue 33 down here. Looks like you only get the one option, unfortunately, unless I'm missing something big here. But you can see pretty comprehensive decals sheets going to be down there with all the different markings on. Speaking of which, we will have a quick look at these guys, but I can find my notes. Okay, so traditionally they're usually not too bad, beautifully protected. Okay, so if we just get these in on the close-up camera, as you can see, very nicely done. And to be honest, considering the sort of generic blurring, it doesn't look too bad, okay? So we have got the Russian markings down there, and we've got, I think that's Ukrainian markings as well. So you have got a couple of options down there, although it doesn't mention it on the colour call-out of this sheet. It only mentions one, which is a bit odd, but there we go. So we have got Ukrainian markings, and we've got Russian markings down there. Doesn't look too bad at all, as I said, for a generic blur. Now these guys down here are going to be the cockpit one, which is what I'm trying to look for, and a few of the others. Again, it's just, hey, it's 72nd. There is options. You can go down for obviously something looking a bit nicer, but the instrument panel I suppose will do, and these side ones are a little bit hit and miss, shall we say. But generally the markings extremely small. We were talking about these on one of the new shows recently, one of the Q&As. Do you put them on? You do if you're going to see them, but some of these I don't think you probably would, because they're so small you're not going to see it by the time it's painted and weathered and everything else like that. The missile ones, for instance, like these ones at the top here, illegible. You can't read those at all. I'm not quite sure what it's supposed to be, but there we go. That's those on there just like that. Okay, so the kit parts themselves, we've got in bag one. Nicely protected. Nice to have this on the back, so I assume should just pull off, and we have both parts together. So we'll start at the top, and hopefully you can see, catch it in the light, beautiful level of detail, incredible level of detail. Love the riveting, very clean, sharp, crisp, precise. The other thing I like, I don't know if you can see it, that the actual control surfaces are slightly molded in and they're lifted in the power down position. Nice little touch as well with that. The louver doors at the front are open, which is correct. Okay, so that's a really nice touch with that. And generally, looking around it right up to the edge is all very nicely done. Hopefully the camera's picking this up, okay. But as you can see, beautifully done. And then down here on the tailplanes over these engine covers, again, very nicely done. No problem with that at all. Speed brake is moulded down. Sorry, that's not even the speed brake on this one, is it? Speed brake's down the back. Rory, what are you talking about? But again, it does look like there is a slight mould mark in this up here where the speed brake would be. I don't know whether the light's catching it, but I don't think it is. I think it's just the mould itself has left a little mark down in there. But maybe something a little bit more going on up there. But generally, you catch it in the light, you can see the level of detail. Absolutely exquisite on the wings and everything else like that. No problem with that. That's really nice indeed. The underside, equally just as good. Some very nice details down on there. Catch it all in the light, as you can see. Got a few little marks and scratches around on it from the bags, but apart from that, beautifully done, no problem. Again, nice to see we've got the ribbing in the wheel wells. All the bits and pieces just down there like that. The only thing is, to be honest, these veins and various things they've got moulded in at the top up here, they're a little bit chunky for their size. You might want to just chuck them off and either replace with a little bit of photo etch or a lot thinner piece of styrene sheet perhaps. In the inside, as I said, easy to open up the holes. They're nicely done. You can see those. No problem at all with that one. But generally, I have to say, beautifully done. Very nice. Catch it in the light like that. You can see the level of detail is absolutely fantastic. Right, okay, let's have a look at the one big sprue it's got, and it's got a few little sprues, because down in here we've got major parts. Okay, so we've got lots of little bits going down on here, but the big thing for me is these guys. So these are the one-piece intakes. Very nice that we don't have a center seam in there. And to be honest, the engraving pretty much goes all the way around on these guys. Hopefully you can see it down in here. No problem with those at all. Look to be pretty nice. Might be a little bit issue obviously joining them to the rear, but apart from that I don't think we've got a problem. But working our way up through the sprue, hopefully you catch it in the light. Beautiful engraved detail down along the tailplanes here, no problem at all. Up here on the wheel wells, again, nice details and everything right the way through. The gear stuff, all this stuff here is absolutely very fine, very nice, very much in scale. Here's the dolly we were talking about for clamping it on. And it looks like it's pinned as well, so it should be a looser fit getting it in and off. The gear doors, bits and pieces with these, no problem at all. And then generally working down to the center tank, it's raised detail. It's not recessed, it's correct, it is raised on this one. That's why they're raised down there, and the back end of it as well. Very nicely done. The doors themselves, we've got no ejector pins inside the door, so that's a beautiful touch on these. These are very clean, crisp, nice with the moulding, with the dents and everything all put in there. Burring on the gear is microscopic, no problem at all. I don't think there is going to be too much of an option of doing the speed brakes open because there's no detail to the inside of them, so it might be easy just to close them up. If you want to do a little bit of scratch building, you'd be good to go. Those doors, these are the inlet doors, have got the little markings all over them, so that's quite a nice touch if you were going to have them done. The nose wheel, and it's nice to see these intakes. As you can see, there's no big ejector pin in there either, so they are devoid of ejector pins on the inside, so that's very nice to see. Okay, so where are we going to go? We're a little bit all over the place here. Now, as you can imagine, this is going to be different versions of this coming out. We expect the U version to come out of this guy as well, hence whilst we've got exhausts and everything else. So the exhausts themselves seem to be very nice and quite nice textures down onto them and everything else like that. No problem with those at all. This is that one-piece seat for the ejector seat. Doesn't seem to be too many problems with that one for its scale, actually. I thought it might be a little bit plain. Very nice to see we've actually got tyres, have actually got detailing on them. So we've got the ribbing into the tyre details and everything else like that. This is the exhaust for the actual, I've got to think of what it's called now, the injector for the afterburner. The actual ring around there, no problem with that at all. Again, all the internals have no ejector pins on the inside. Very nicely done. Nose wheel, how tiny that little guy is. Okay. Sorry, dolly wheel that is. Sorry, my apologies. So we've got dolly wheel there, nose wheel there, no problem at all. There's that first stage compressor, and we've even got fan in the inside of that. So again, very nice touch with that. That's weapons. This is tailplanes. So let's have a look at the tailplanes. So again, looking at these, beautiful. Look at that. That is absolutely fantastic. Beautiful ribbing. You can see that, the actual riveting details, panel lines, everything else like that. Very nicely done, very sharp. In fact, that's an extremely sharp looking MIG. Very nice indeed. Okay, we'll look at canopy last. So down here we got fuel tank weapons pylons. As I say, it's a dual one. So again, very nicely done. No problem with that at all. Two-piece missile system, so it's just the two halves going to be going together there with the tanks. It looks like these ACMI type missiles, no problem at all. One piece down there. The pylons again, extremely nicely done. If we catch it in the light, you can see the riveting coming off of them. There we go. Very nicely done. Very sharp details on all of those. And again, we've got raised and recessed details down here on these wing tanks as well, which is a very nice touch. They're lovely. Okay, the slightly bigger missiles for this guy. So this is the big R27s. Okay, so normal thing with the R27s, the two different types. Okay, so you've basically got the radar guided and the passive infrared guided versions there, and the tailplanes with them, and the larger R60 missiles down there. No problem at all. Very nice, clean, crisp, nice recessed details on those. Okay, so we've got the cockpit tub, instrument panels, as we were saying, and we have two noses down here. You can see the difference in the noses. One's a little bit longer as well. Slight differences between them, and obviously with the taper and the droop. Cockpit tub, as you can imagine, is devoid of anything because you've got the decals for it, and really so is the instrument panel, so it might be worth a trip down aftermarket route with that one. Scoops, these are the chaff and flare buckets for the tops. Doesn't look like there's any detail on top of those. You might want to pop in some little holes just to make that look a little bit nicer, but generally very nice indeed. And then last up, in three ways, so we got HUD and navigation and landing lights just down on that sprue, and then in these two bags we should have a forward canopy and the rear, I'm thinking. There it is. So that's your forward canopy, beautifully crystal clear, no seam lines, no nothing at all. That really is very, very nice indeed. Okay, and for the rear one, as we know, Trumpeter Hobby Boss have nailed the canopies, as they always are absolutely beautiful. And again, that one is a piece of art as well. Beautifully clear, no seam lines, totally clear. Very clever how they get this moulded so very nicely, even in the scale. You see, dropping it over, because of the thickness of this, you'd think you'd have problems, but that's hardly any distortion in there whatsoever. So that is very, very nice. And that is it. First time I've had a proper look at one of these MiGs, and I have to say I love them. They are absolutely fantastic. Definitely on par with their SU-27 family, but the MiG-29 family that are coming along, we've seen other versions of this. This is the 913 version. We know there's a lot more of them coming along as well, and they look to be absolutely stunning, and they could turn into my firm favourite for 1/72 scale MiGs.